right, so HealthBlocks, it's so great to have you guys here today. So let's start at a high level. Where is the MachineFi DePIN category right now?
Well, that's an interesting question. I think it's a very interesting time for the DePIN category to get some real world data connected to smart contracts and blockchain solutions. I think that is a very big opportunity that we believe in for our solutions as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I think we also need to be realistic, trying to keep it all in the Web3 space. We very much see ourselves as a Web 2.5 company, and we feel that the world is probably going to move more in that direction where we leverage the benefits of both.
Nice. So let's talk about HealthBlocks. So what problem is HealthBlocks solving?
So the problem that we are solving is pretty obvious. Like 45% of the world population tries to live healthier, and we have like massive challenges with health issues, right? Especially chronic health issues. But there's also a big opportunity. We are collecting more data than ever before with over 1 billion connected health devices, especially IoT health devices. But the real problem is that there's a lack of user engagement for those devices and also utility of the data. So on average, most people lay off their wearables after 6 months of use. Because you have the feeling you know like what type of data you're collecting, how many steps you're taking on a good or a bad day. So with HealthBlocks, we can add different layers of user engagement by providing rewards and incentive mechanisms for people to keep on collecting data. But also in that sense, make the data exchangeable and create a whole new set of a utility of the data to help it drive health innovation, but also of course monetizing data and give back to the users.
Yeah, so extending on from that, obviously the key thing with health data, it has to be secure and it has to be seen to be secure. So we're excited to use some new Web3 technology. We're partnering up with a company called Nillion, and their data store allows us to store the data in an unencrypted form. It's been shattered into a nillion fragments, to use their term, and we're allowed then to run computation on their chain. So we can allow people access to run their AI model on their chain against the data. They see the results, but at no point do we ever actually share their data with these third parties. And for that, the individual who's made their data available would be rewarded.
Fascinating. Nice.
We think so.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Incentivizing healthy activity sounds like a fantastic use case to help the world. So why do you guys need a token to do this?
Well, that is one of the most important questions that we get in the last couple of months. So to run the consumer-facing side of the app, we don't really need a token.
Okay.
Right? We can do it in a Web 2 environment, and maybe that's even better to kind of drive engagement and also drive a lot of users, because we believe not all users want to be bothered with the Web 3 technology, although we all love it here, of course, but not everybody does. So we don't really need that. Where we do need a token for it, what we want to do is to set up a DAO and give people access to that DAO and let the performance of the HealthBlocks app also influence the tokenomics of the DAO and give people governance on the kind of like the trajectory HealthBlocks is going, and people can submit kind of like requests, research proposals and everything like that, but also can create some staking rewards. So we're kind of like separating the both of them in the tokenomics in the app and then also in a DAO form to create a little bit more stability, and then let kind of like the token hijack the project, because we are in here for the long term and have a real vision to improve people's health and lives for the longer term, right? So it's always kind of like tricky with token models nowadays. They are not long term in general.
No, so we do see the token becoming integrated more closely in with the app in the future. We're really trying to avoid that sudden rise in value and then a sudden crash in value, and that distracts from what we're trying to achieve. So in the future, once the things settle down, the app has got traction and the DAO's running, then we will then upgrade the app to allow you to use the token within the DAO inside the app. So if you want to, you can run it as a fully tokenized application. But those who don't need to, and we feel that's an important part. Just just for adoption.
Yeah, it's also I think for adoption in the entire Web3 space, it's good that people have kind of like a very smooth onboarding, so they have options to have, don't be bothered with all the Web3 part of it, but get a little bit more educated and customized with all the things that come with it. So I think that in the HealthBlocks solution now, we have those things come together pretty closely.
So that's what you mean when you say HealthBlocks is a Web 2.5 company.
Absolutely.
Exactly,
Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha. So why does HealthBlocks need Web3 exactly to solve this problem?
Yeah. So we come from when we were thinking about this problem, and we came across IoTex and had a lot of chats with R3al and the founding team. And what we believe in is to give ownership and control of the data back to the user. It's more like a philosophical thing, right? And also that's why we are so excited about decentralized technologies. And we don't see ourselves as kind of like a classic Web3 company or Web3 project, because we are most excited in Web3 side about the decentralized data infrastructure that it can provide. And that's the whole thing why we are so excited about it and want to build out this decentralized infrastructure for identities, data storage, and analysis and compute, like Jeff just explained. So that side of things, that is why we are definitely most excited about Web3 and want to integrate it even more so than the token side and rewarding mechanisms.
Nice.
So we're also really looking to future-proof. We, as Rosanne said, we're in this for the long haul. And Web3 is moving very quickly. The use of decentralized data storage is one key aspect of the application. At the moment, we're using devices like Fitbit or an Apple Watch, and they're sending the data pretty much unencrypted up to, we're using the IoTex WAS, and we're using their IoT feature. Ideally, in the future, we would like to be able to work with Web3 enabled devices like the Pebble, for instance, and actually have the data encrypted right from end to end and put straight into a Nillion data store. And there's no cracks in the system. The data's secure right from the wearable device right into the data store. And then all we do is allow access to it to perform actions.
Nice. Thanks for that, Jeff. And the long-term vision, I think, is clear, but where is HealthBlocks right now? Let's talk about users, functionality, where the app is.
Yes, so we have a beta, HealthBlocks beta is live. We went live in the summer of 2022, gained over 10,000 users in less than 3 months without any marketing effort. We didn't even share it on our Twitter, I think, for the first month or so. So we're kind of like surprised with that. The beta is like very basic. So we do reward people for completing health goals. But the first kind of like thing on our mind now when we go towards V1 launch is to integrate a concept called activity pools to create user engagement. And an activity pool is basically a health challenge, a data-driven health challenge that can be set up by any user or a company or anyone who likes it. And people can join this data challenge. So it can be, for example, that you have to walk 10,000 steps for 3 weeks in a row. And if you want to join that challenge, you have to pay an entry fee in our token. And all those entry fees combined are the prize money. And people that successfully complete the challenge get a reward. So you can have quite a good return on investment on your entry, but it's all backed by real value within the system. And why do we start here is because we believe also with the adoption of Web 2 and Web 3 that we first have to have a good user base, good engagement. And in the meanwhile, we are building up this data set, right, from all the users that are collecting data in their profile. And then we will move towards the data exchange part in V2.
That sounds like the most socially positive form of a lottery.
Yes. Well, you're in control this time.
So in terms of where we are technically, we've really been spending the last few months fine-tuning the architecture. We've been looking at all the, like I say, the different Web3 components that we're using, but we're also looking at the architecture of the Web 2 side. It's not really of interest to your viewers, but it's how we integrate those together in a way that works for our V1, but 5 years down the line, the architecture still functions. We want to be able to be an API so people can white label and include the functionality that we offer in our app within their own app. And we've got ideas running for 3 or 4 years into the future of features that we'd like to add. So it's just about getting that absolutely ready to go. So we're in a pre-seed funding round now. And obviously once we've got the seed rounds completed, then we can start the development process, which is about 7 months to release. And then we've got a runway of about 3 years after that, which there'll be continuous releases and upgrades at that point.
Nice. So let's close by talking about Webstream, and this will be more for you, Jeff.
Right, okay.
So what does Webstream enable you to do today that you couldn't do 2 years ago?
Right, okay. So we've been working very closely with IoTeX, and there are a number of aspects to Webstream. They've released the WAS, which is something we asked for a while back.
Actually, and what is a WAS?
So it's a hosted web stream.
It's kind of Webstream as a service.
Webstream as a service.
Yeah.
The original Webstream, we would have probably needed to host a Docker image ourselves, which was kind of not that decentralized, and it meant we were responsible for areas of a system we didn't really understand very well. So the WAS, we're really excited about the WAS. And as well as that, they've started adding features. So the 3 things that we're going to use within the WAS. The first one is the IoT hub. So we could use an Azure, say, IoT hub, but we like the way that the Webstream hub works, and they're going to be adding the ability to go straight into an Azure event grid, so it's very easy to use. But it future-proofs us so that we can add IoTeX developing physical products which are encrypted end-to-end, and that would allows us to run, as they become available, we can run those straight through IoTeX. So, and the other thing they're working on is like a no-code version of writing smart contracts. So you use a no-code interface and you can say what you want to happen under a particular, when a message comes in, and then they will make sure it create the smart contract for you. So for us, it simplifies a lot of the Web3 side of things, and that will be for our NFTs and the token, especially when we integrate the token into the app.
And all based on the data coming in, right?
It's all based on the data coming in,
which makes it pretty exciting.
So all of that's integrated into a single point of contact, single infrastructure.
That's very cool. Yeah, thanks for that answer. And let me ask you about the integration process with IoTeX. What was that like? What's your feedback?
Well, actually, they're really great to work with.
Yes.
At the moment, the WAS and some of the features we're talking about, they are still being worked on. So we haven't integrated them. We haven't actually written the code to integrate those yet. We'll be doing that shortly. But I would say that whenever we've asked for something, they go away and come back with it. They couldn't have been more helpful, and they've got their team of developers, and when we do start development, they are going to help work with us to get that integration done quickly and accurately, and we'll be running our code past them to make sure that they think it makes sense. So we don't have any worries about working with it at all.
No.
Good to hear. And finally, were there any other L1s that you considered working with? And if so, why did you choose IoTeX?
Well, we talked with a lot of them, right? Not only layer 1s, also layer 2 solutions. And also because, we are a pretty specific use case. So we know what features we kind of need to build it out. But we have to say the IoTeX team is pretty much also on a technical level, but also on a support level, has always been standing out from a lot of the others. And I think also for our use case that we are so focused on the data infrastructure and the data coming in, I think IoTeX on IoT data is kind of the project or the chain to be on. So, but we did a lot of work at talking to other projects as well.
Yeah, a lot of it was the support aspect of it. Yes. Really. There are no products offerings out there that do what we want them to do right now, and there certainly weren't a few months ago. And we do look all the time thinking maybe another one will come up, but the guys that we've selected have been selected because we're confident in what they're building, and their responsiveness is amazing. So if you're building a new startup application, I wouldn't choose to work with anyone else really.
No, totally agree.
Beautiful. Well, thanks so much for your time, both of you. This was a great conversation.
Okay. Well,
thank you, Dean.
Thanks, Dean.
We'll be following HealthBlocks closely in the future.
Thanks.
And I'm
Good.
a user of your app as well. I'm getting my
You
30
getting your steps
tokens a
in?
day.
Great.
Yeah,
Well,
it
make sure
works.
you make
It's
sure you
motivating.
get the new one when it comes out because
I
it'll
will. I'll
be
be
so
on it.
much better.
Yeah.
Really?
Great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great to hear. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.